The rain started just as Dylan pulled into the driveway. I watched him through the kitchen window, engine idling, hands gripping the steering wheel like he was trying to strangle it. He sat there for almost 3 minutes before cutting the ignition. That's when I knew he needed something. "He's here," I said. Linda looked up from her laptop, reading glasses perched on her nose. "I can see that. You think it's money?" "It's always money." She closed the laptop slowly, deliberately. "Question is how much?" Dylan finally got out of the car. He was wearing that navy blazer he'd bought for investor meetings, the one that cost more than my first car. His hair was perfect. His smile was ready. He knocked twice, then used his key anyway. "Hey, Dad, Mom." He set his messenger bag on the counter with practiced casualness. "Hope I'm not interrupting." "It's 8:30 on a Thursday," I said. "What do you think?" "Right. Well, I'll make it quick." He pulled out a chair, sat down without being invited. "I need a favor." Linda and I exchanged a glance. 15 years of marriage gives you telepathy. "What kind of favor?" I asked. "Financial. Temporary." He spread his hands like a magician, showing nothing up his sleeves. "My startup's in a weird transition phase. We've got Series A funding committed, but there's a gap between now and when it closes. 3 weeks, maybe 4. "How much is the gap?" $60,000. I felt Linda stiffen beside me. $60,000. The number hung in the air like smoke. "That's not temporary," I said. "That's a car. That's a year of college." I know. But listen." He leaned forward, elbows on the table. This was his pitch posture. I'd seen it before. "I don't need you to give it to me. I need you to co-sign a bridge loan. The bank requires a guarantor with established credit and stable income. That's you." "What about Melissa's parents?" "They've already helped. Her dad's on the board. It would look weird to have him guarantee the loan, too." Linda's voice was quiet, measured. "What does Melissa think about this?" Dylan hesitated. Just a fraction of a second, but I caught it. "She's supportive. She knows it's temporary." "You said that twice now," I noted. "Temporary." "Because it is. The Series A closes, we pay off the bridge loan immediately. You're not actually on the hook for anything. It's just paperwork." I looked at my son, really looked at him. 29 years old, MBA from a good school, married to a smart woman, running his own company. He had everything I'd worked my whole life to give him the opportunity to achieve. And here he was, asking me to put my name on a loan for $60,000 because his dream needed life support. "What does the company do again?" Linda asked. "We're building an AI-powered compliance platform for mid-market financial services firms. It automates regulatory reporting, reduces human error, saves companies millions in potential fines." "But no one's buying it yet," I said. "We have interest, strong interest. The product works. We just need to bridge to the funding round." I stood up, walked to the coffee pot, poured myself a cup I didn't want. "Why didn't you come to us 3 weeks ago, or 6 weeks ago? When did you know you'd have this gap?" "It developed faster than I expected. A vendor demanded upfront payment. It changed the timeline." "What vendor?" "Data infrastructure. Cloud services." "Look, Dad, I can walk you through the whole financial model if you want. But the bottom line is, I need an answer by tomorrow morning. The bank's been holding the application for me, but they need the guarantor information." Linda closed her laptop completely. "Have you shown your father the loan documents?" "Not yet. I wanted to talk first, make sure he was comfortable with the concept before drowning him in paperwork." She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "That's considerate." Dylan pulled a folder from his messenger bag. "I brought them anyway, just in case." He slid the folder across the table. I opened it. The top document was a loan application from Pacific Trust Bank. My name was already filled in as guarantor. Below that, a credit agreement. Below that, corporate documents for something called Compliance Solutions LLC. "You already filled in my information," I said. "It saved time. If you say yes, we can submit tonight." I flipped through the pages. $60,000, 12-month term, interest rate of 8.5%. Standard enough. But something nagged at me. I went back to the signature page. There were 2 signature blocks. "Why are there 2 places for me to sign?" Dylan barely glanced at it. "Standard boilerplate. One's for the guarantor agreement, one's for the corporate resolution acknowledging the guarantor. Banks love redundancy." "Corporate resolution? I'm not part of your company." "It's just confirming that the company accepts you as guarantor. Pure formality." Linda stood up. "I'm going to make tea. Anyone want some?" Neither of us answered. I kept staring at those 2 signature blocks. They looked identical. Same language, same witness line, same date field. Why would a bank need me to sign the exact same thing twice? Dad, I hate asking for this. You know I do. Dylan's voice dropped into that register he used when he wanted to sound vulnerable. But you're the only person I can count on right now. You've always been there. I wouldn't ask if I had another option. Guilt, the great motivator, every parent's weakness. I thought about the years I'd worked double shifts to pay for his college, the nights I'd stayed up helping him with physics homework, the time I'd driven 6 hours round trip to pick him up from a ski trip when his car broke down, the 1,000 small sacrifices that add up to fatherhood. If I sign this, you promise the Series A funding is real? I swear on everything. The term sheet is signed. It's happening. And you'll pay this back the second the funding closes? The very second. Linda returned with her tea, sat down, said nothing. I picked up the pen Dylan had brought. He'd thought of everything. Of course he had. He was smart. He was prepared. He was my son. I signed both blocks. Dylan exhaled like he'd been holding his breath underwater. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. You have no idea what this means. I think I do. It means I'm on the hook for $60,000 if your company fails. It won't fail. I promise you, Dad. 6 months from now, you're going to be proud you took this chance on me. He gathered the documents, slid them back into the folder with efficient movements. I need to scan these tonight and email them to the bank. They'll process everything tomorrow, and the funds should hit our account by Monday. That fast? They've been ready to go. They were just waiting for the guarantor. He stood, squeezed my shoulder. I'll pay you back for this. Not just the money, the trust. I know what you're risking. Do you? Yeah, Dad, I really do. He left the same way he came in. 2 knocks, then gone. Linda sipped her tea. You want to tell me what you're thinking? I'm thinking I just made a mistake. Based on what? Based on nothing. Based on everything. Based on the fact that my son rehearsed that conversation before he got here. Of course he did. He needed money. People rehearse when they need things. I looked at the folder he'd forgotten. No, not forgotten. Left behind deliberately. A copy for my records. How considerate. I opened it again. Stared at those 2 signature blocks. Identical language, identical formatting, my name written twice, in my handwriting, on 2 separate lines. Linda, why would a bank need 2 signatures for the same thing? She set down her tea. I don't know, but I think you should find out. I went to my office, turned on the computer, and started reading the documents carefully. Really carefully. The kind of careful you should have used before signing. The first signature block was straightforward. Personal guarantee for Titan Compliance Solutions LLC, loan amount $60,000, term 12 months. The second signature block was buried on page 7. Different formatting, same signature line, and the language was different too. Not by much, just enough that you'd miss it if you weren't looking. This one listed me as guarantor for all related entities and successor organizations operating under the Titan umbrella, including but not limited to Titan Compliance Solutions LLC, Titan Analytics Group LLC, and Titan Strategic Ventures LLC. 3 companies. I just guaranteed 3 companies. I grabbed my phone, called Dylan, voicemail, I called again, voicemail again, I texted, we need to talk. Call me. No response. I went back to the documents. Titan Analytics Group, Titan Strategic Ventures. I'd never heard of either of them. I opened my browser, searched the California Secretary of State Business Database, Titan Compliance Solutions LLC, registered 4 months ago. Dylan listed as CEO and registered agent. Titan Analytics Group LLC, registered 6 weeks ago. Dylan listed as CEO. Registered agent, someone named Patterson. Titan Strategic Ventures LLC, registered 3 weeks ago. Dylan listed as CEO. Registered agent, M. Patterson. Same Patterson. 2 companies registered while my son was supposedly scrambling for bridge funding. I searched for M. Patterson. Nothing useful. Too common a name. My phone buzzed. Dylan. Hey, sorry, I was driving. What's up? What's Titan Analytics Group? Silence. Real silence, not the rehearsed kind. It's part of the corporate structure. We set up different entities for different revenue streams. It's normal for tech companies. And Titan Strategic Ventures? Same thing. Investment vehicle. Keeps everything clean for taxes and liability. You didn't mention I'd be guaranteeing all 3. Dad, they're all part of the same ecosystem. Same company, different paperwork. It doesn't change anything. It changes everything. You told me I was guaranteeing 1 loan for 1 company. Because functionally, that's what you're doing. The other entities don't even have active operations yet. They're shells. Then why do they need a guarantor? Because the bank wants comprehensive coverage. They're paranoid, but I promise you, the only loan is the $60,000. The other companies aren't borrowing anything. I closed my eyes, counted to 5. Who's M. Patterson? Another pause. A consultant, someone who helped set up the corporate structure. Why is he the registered agent for 2 of your companies? Because I can't be the agent for all 3. You need variety for compliance reasons. Everything he said sounded reasonable. Everything he said sounded like an excuse. Dylan, I want to meet this Patterson. Sure, yeah, I'll set something up. But honestly, he's not that important. He just handles paperwork. If he's not important, why is he the registered agent? Dad, you're freaking out over nothing. The loan is solid. The funding is real. Everything's fine. Then why do I feel like I've been lied to? Because you're scared. I get it. $60,000 is a lot of money. But I'm telling you, on my life, this is all legitimate. You're protected. I'm protected. Everyone's protected. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him. I need to see the paperwork for the other 2 companies, I said. I'll email it to you tomorrow. Tonight. Fine. Tonight. I have to dig it up, but I'll send it. He hung up. Linda appeared in the doorway. Well, he says it's normal. Corporate structure, revenue streams, tax efficiency. Do you believe him? I looked at the screen. 3 companies. 1 son, 2 strangers named Patterson. No, I said. I don't. The documents never came that night. I stayed up until 2 in the morning, refreshing my email. Nothing. I called Dylan at 7 the next morning. Voicemail. I called Melissa. Hey, it's Dad. Is Dylan around? He left early. Investor breakfast. Do you know anything about Titan Analytics Group or Titan Strategic Ventures? Her pause was different from Dylan's. Genuine confusion, not calculation. No. Should I? Your husband registered 2 companies under those names. He made me guarantor. Guarantor for what? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Let me call you back. She didn't. I went to work, taught my classes, graded papers, pretended my son hadn't just used me as collateral for something I didn't understand. At 3:15, my phone rang. Unknown number. Is this Mr. Brennan? Yes. Mr. Brennan, my name is Eric Volkov. I'm a senior risk analyst with Cascade Corporate Recovery. Do you have a moment? Everything inside me went cold. What's this about? Sir, you're listed as primary guarantor on 3 separate business entities registered in California. I'm calling to verify that you're aware of these obligations and that the contact information we have on file is current. What 3 entities? Titan Compliance Solutions, Titan Analytics Group, and Titan Strategic Ventures. Our records show you guaranteed a revolving credit facility for the aggregate structure totaling $240,000. The room tilted. That's impossible. I signed for $60,000. Sir, I'm reading directly from the guarantor agreement filed with Pacific Trust Bank on... Papers rustled. November 14th. Is that your signature on file? I signed something, but it was for $60,000. 1 company. I understand this may be concerning. I'd recommend you review the documents you signed and consult with an attorney. My role is simply to confirm contact information and advise you that the facility is currently active. Active? What does that mean? Funds have been drawn against the credit line. As of this morning, the outstanding balance is $187,000. My vision tunneled. Who drew the funds? The authorized signatories for the entities in question. Who are the signatories? I'm not at liberty to share that information. You'd need to contact the bank directly. This is fraud. I never agreed to this. Sir, if you believe there's been fraudulent activity, you should absolutely report it to the authorities and seek legal counsel. However, I need to inform you that under the terms of the guarantee, you are currently liable for the full outstanding balance should the entities default. They can't default. The funding... I stopped. The Series A. The funding round that was supposed to close in 3 weeks. Is there anything else I can help you with today, Mr. Brennan? No. He hung up. I sat in my car in the school parking lot. $187,000. 3 companies. My signature, duplicated, weaponized, turned into a trap I'd walked into because I loved my son. I called Dylan. No answer. I called Melissa. No answer. I called Linda. She picked up on the first ring. Someone from a recovery company just called me, I said. I'm on the hook for $187,000. She didn't say anything for a long time. "Come home," she finally said. "We need to figure out what to do." I drove, hands shaking, mind racing. The rain started again, harder this time, and I could barely see the road. I pulled onto the shoulder, hazards flashing, and just sat there while cars sprayed past. My phone buzzed. Dylan. "Dad, I heard you got a call from Cascade. I'm so sorry. I was going to explain everything tonight." "Explain what? That you lied to me? That you forged my signature on loans I never agreed to?" "I didn't forge anything. You signed the documents." "For $60,000. One company." And I explained that the other entities were part of the structure. "You knew." "I didn't know they'd borrow money." "The guarantee covered all related obligations. It was in the paperwork." Buried on page 7 in language I didn't understand. "Dad, I'm sorry you're upset, but this is business. Sometimes business is complicated." Something in his voice. Not apologetic, not guilty, defensive. "Where did the $187,000 go?" I asked. "Operating expenses, infrastructure, personnel. Running a company costs money." "The Series A funding was supposed to cover that." "It will, when it closes." "When does it close?" Silence. "Dylan, when does the Series A close?" "We're still in negotiations." "You said it was signed." "The term sheet is signed. The final documents are in legal review." "That's not the same thing." "It's close enough." I closed my eyes. "You lied to me." "I optimized the timeline. There's a difference." "No, Dylan, there really isn't." I hung up. The rain pounded the roof. I thought about everything I'd worked for, the house, the retirement account, the security I'd built brick by brick over 30 years, all of it suddenly at risk because I'd trusted my own son. I called Linda back. "How bad is it?" she asked. "Worse than I thought. The funding round isn't closed, it might never close, and he's already spent most of the money." "Can we afford to pay it back?" "Not without destroying everything we've saved." "Then what do we do?" I sat there, rain hammering the windshield, and felt something shift inside me. Something cold, something I hadn't felt since I was younger, meaner, more willing to fight. "We don't pay it back," I said. "We make him fix it." "How?" "I don't know yet, but I'm done being the victim here." I merged back into traffic. The rain didn't let up, neither did I. I didn't go home. I drove to Dylan's office instead, a co-working space in a converted warehouse downtown. Glass walls, exposed brick, young people drinking cold brew and talking about disruption. My son's ecosystem. The receptionist was maybe 23, nose ring, dyed hair. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Dylan Brennan." "He's not in today. Do you have an appointment?" "I'm his father." That changed her expression. "Oh, he's usually here on Fridays. You could try calling?" "I did. He's not answering." She shifted uncomfortably. "I could leave him a message?" I looked past her, through the glass partition into the open workspace. Rows of desks, most of them empty. A few people hunched over laptops. No Dylan. "Which desk is his?" "Sir, I can't really—" "I'm his father. I guaranteed his loans. I think I have a right to see where my money's going." She hesitated, then pointed. "Back corner, the one with the monitor set up." I walked past her before she could stop me. The few people working looked up, startled, then looked away. Nobody challenges a man who moves with purpose. Dylan's desk was neat. Too neat. Monitor, keyboard, mouse, nothing else. No papers, no coffee cups, no signs of actual work. I opened the drawer. Empty. Opened the side cabinet. Also empty. "Excuse me, sir, you can't—" The receptionist had followed me. "When did he clear out his desk?" "I don't know what you mean." "This desk is empty. When did he move his stuff?" "I really think you should talk to Dylan about this." I pulled out my phone, took pictures of the empty desk, the empty drawers. Evidence. I was already thinking in terms of evidence. A guy in a tech startup uniform, hoodie, jeans, expensive sneakers, approached cautiously. "Hey man, you okay?" "Do you work with Dylan Brennan?" "Yeah, sometimes. We're in different pods, but—" "When did you last see him?" Maybe 2 weeks ago. He's been working remotely a lot." "Working on what?" "The platform. The compliance stuff." "Have you seen the platform?" He hesitated. "Not the finished version. It's still in development." "How long have you worked here?" 4 months. "And in 4 months, you've never seen a finished product?" "Dude, I don't know what you want me to say." I left. The receptionist watched me go with visible relief. Outside, I called Linda again. His office is empty. He cleared it out. When? I don't know, but everyone acts like he hasn't been there in weeks. What does that mean? It means he planned this. The timing, the loan, everything. He knew exactly when to ask me. I sat in my car and did what I should have done 2 weeks ago. Real research. Pacific Trust Bank, Titan Compliance Solutions, Titan Analytics Group, Titan Strategic Ventures. I searched every combination, every filing, every public record I could find. Titan Compliance Solutions. Registered 4 months ago. Filed for a business license. Submitted a trademark application for a logo. Nothing else. No product, no website, no actual evidence of a working platform. Titan Analytics Group. Registered 6 weeks ago. No business license, no trademarks, nothing but the corporate registration itself. Titan Strategic Ventures. Registered 3 weeks ago. Same story. A shell with my name attached. M. Patterson appeared on 2 of the 3 registrations as the agent, but searching the name gave me nothing useful. It was a ghost. I called Pacific Trust Bank. Got transferred 4 times before reaching someone in commercial lending. I need information about a loan guaranteed under my name, Titan Compliance Solutions. Are you the account holder? I'm the guarantor. I can't discuss account details with non-account holders. I'm personally liable for the loan. That makes me an interested party. Sir, you'd need to come in with identification and the account number. I don't have the account number. My son has it. Then I'd suggest getting it from him. I hung up, frustrated. Banks are fortresses designed to keep out everyone, even the people whose money they're risking. I tried a different approach. I called a former colleague, Dennis Chen, who'd spent 20 years in corporate finance before retiring. If anyone could decode what Dylan had done, it was him. Brennan, long time. What's going on? I explained everything. The loan, the 3 companies, the duplicated signature, the phone call from Cascade Corporate Recovery. He listened without interrupting, which meant it was bad. Okay, he said finally. First thing you need to understand is that you signed a cross-collateralization agreement. In English? Your guarantee doesn't just cover one loan, it covers all obligations across all entities. If any of the 3 companies borrows money, you're on the hook. If they default, creditors can come after you for the whole thing. But I only signed once. You signed twice. On page 7, you acknowledged joint and several liability for related entities. That's the key phrase, related entities. Dylan told me those companies were shells. Maybe they were when you signed, but shells can be filled. Once you're the guarantor, whoever controls those companies can do whatever they want with them. Borrow, spend, transfer assets. You're just standing there holding the bag. This has to be illegal. Is it fraud? Maybe. Is it prosecutable? That depends. Did you read the documents before signing? Not carefully enough. Then proving fraud gets harder. A prosecutor's going to ask why you signed something you didn't understand. I felt the walls closing in. What are my options? Best case? Your son repays the loans and releases you from the guarantee. That requires him to either close the funding round or find another guarantor. And worst case? Worst case, the companies default. The bank pursues collection, and you're forced to choose between paying a debt you can't afford or filing for bankruptcy. There has to be something I can do. There is. You fight, but not in court. Courts are slow and expensive, and you'll lose even if you win. You fight the way people fight in business. You find leverage. What kind of leverage? Whatever your son values more than money. We talked for another 20 minutes. Dennis walked me through the mechanics of corporate guarantees, the legal language, the escape routes. There were options, but none of them were clean. When I hung up, Linda was standing in the doorway. I heard, she said. What now? Now I find out who M. Patterson is. How? I start where Dylan won't expect me to look. I went to the California Secretary of State website again, this time searching for every business entity registered in the past 6 months with Patterson as an agent. There were hundreds. I narrowed it down by county. Still dozens. I started calling them. Voicemails, disconnected numbers, receptionists who'd never heard of Patterson. But on the 14th call, I got something. Orion Management Solutions. I'm looking for M. Patterson. Morgan's not in right now. Can I take a message? Morgan. Not Mike or Matthew or Martin. Morgan. Do you have a direct line for Morgan? I can transfer you to voicemail. The voicemail greeting was brief, professional, male. You've reached Morgan Patterson. Leave a message. I didn't. I hung up and searched Orion Management Solutions, consulting firm, business strategy, corporate structuring, regulatory compliance. Clients included tech startups, financial services, private equity, the kind of firm that helps people build complicated things, or hide them. I called Dennis back. If I wanted to set up 3 companies designed to confuse creditors and shift liability, who would I hire? Someone who specializes in corporate structuring, lawyers, accountants, consultants. What about someone named Morgan Patterson? Never heard of him. Why? He's the registered agent on 2 of Dylan's companies. Then he's either a lawyer or a professional agent service. His firm is Orion Management Solutions. Dennis went quiet. I know Orion. They're not cheap, and they don't work with amateurs. Meaning? Meaning your son didn't stumble into this. He hired professionals to set up a structure specifically designed to trap you. The words landed like a fist. Dennis, what do I do? You sure you want my advice? Yes. Stop thinking like a father. Start thinking like someone who just got robbed. I hung up and stared at my phone. Morgan Patterson. Orion Management Solutions. My son, who'd rehearsed his plea for help, who'd filled in my information before asking, who'd left a copy of the documents like it was a courtesy. Linda sat down across from me. You're going to do something, aren't you? Yeah. Something you'll regret? No, something he will. Her expression didn't change. Good. I spent the rest of the night building a timeline, when Dylan registered each company, when he applied for loans, when he hired Morgan Patterson, when he cleared out his office. Every step was deliberate, every move calculated. He'd chosen the week I was busy with final exams to ask for the signature. He'd rushed me, played on guilt, left before I could ask too many questions, and somewhere in those 3 companies, hidden in documents I'd never seen, was the real plan, the one that didn't include me except as collateral. At midnight, I got an email from Dylan. Dad, I know you're upset. Can we talk tomorrow? I'll explain everything, I promise. I didn't respond. At 1 a.m, another email. This one from Melissa. I don't know what's going on, but Dylan's scared. He won't tell me what happened. Can you call me? I didn't respond to her either. At 2 a.m, I was still awake, staring at the ceiling when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Mr. Brennan? Yes. This is Morgan Patterson. I think we should meet. My heart rate spiked. How did you get this number? Your son gave it to me. He's concerned about the current situation. The situation where I'm liable for $200,000 I didn't agree to? That's not quite accurate, but I understand your frustration. I'd like to discuss options. What options? That's better done in person. Are you available tomorrow afternoon? Every instinct screamed trap. Where? My office, downtown. I'll text you the address. Why would I trust you? Because right now, Mr. Brennan, I'm the only person who can explain what's actually happening, and you deserve that explanation. He hung up before I could argue. 30 seconds later, a text came through with an address. 4th floor, corner office. Building. I'd driven past 1,000 times. Linda rolled over. Who was that? Morgan Patterson. What did he want? To meet. You're not going. I looked at her. Yeah, I am. It's a trap. I know, but it's also the only move I have. She sat up, turned on the light. Then I'm coming with you. No. You don't get to make that choice. He used both of us when he put your name on those papers. This is my problem, too. I wanted to argue, but she was right. Dylan hadn't just betrayed me, he'd betrayed both of us. Our savings, our security, our future. Fine, I said. But we record everything. Agreed. We didn't sleep the rest of the night. We sat at the kitchen table, drinking coffee, planning what to ask, what to demand, what to threaten. At 6 a.m, Dylan texted, Please don't meet with Patterson. Let me explain first. I replied, You had 2 weeks to explain. You chose to lie instead. He called immediately. I sent it to voicemail. He texted, Dad, please, this is bigger than you think. Me, that's the first true thing you've said. Linda watched me, expression unreadable. You're angry. Yes. Good. Stay angry. Angry is useful. At 7, I called in sick to work. First time in 3 years. I didn't care. At 8, Linda and I got in the car. The rain had stopped, but the sky was still gray, heavy with threat. At 9:15, we walked into a glass tower downtown. Elevators to the 4th floor, Orion Management Solutions in brushed steel letters. The receptionist smiled. Can I help you? We're here to see Morgan Patterson. Names? Brennan. Her smile flickered. One moment. She made a call, spoke quietly, hung up. He'll be right out. We stood there, waiting, while people in expensive suits walked past with tablets and takeout coffee. This was Dylan's world now. Marble floors and corporate efficiency. A long way from the kid who'd cried when his bike got stolen. Mr. and Mrs. Brennan. Morgan Patterson was younger than I expected. Mid-30s, sharp suit, handshake like a politician. Thank you for coming. Please follow me. His office overlooked the city, floor-to-ceiling windows, minimalist furniture, the kind of space designed to intimidate. Coffee? Water? Answers, I said. He smiled. Fair enough. Please sit. We sat. He stayed standing, which was a power move, so I stood back up. Let's skip the performance, I said. Tell me what's happening. Patterson's smile disappeared. Your son hired me to structure a corporate entity capable of securing substantial growth capital. I provided that structure. 3 companies, differentiated functions, cross-collateralized for efficiency. You mean to confuse creditors? I mean to protect the enterprise. In venture-backed businesses, liability management is essential. And I'm the liability. You're the guarantor. It's not the same thing. Linda spoke for the first time. You knew he was going to use his father as collateral without full disclosure. Patterson looked at her. I knew Dylan needed a guarantor with substantial assets. I advised him to be transparent about the obligations. What he chose to disclose is between you and him. That's a lie, I said. You structured this specifically to hide the exposure. I structured it to be legally compliant. How your son presented it to you is not my responsibility. I pulled out my phone, set it on his desk, recording. Then explain what the 3 companies actually do. He glanced at the phone but didn't object. Titan Compliance Solutions is the operating entity. It develops and sells the software platform. Titan Analytics Group handles data licensing and secondary revenue streams. Titan Strategic Ventures is an investment vehicle for potential acquisitions or partnerships. None of them have revenue, I said. Not yet. None of them have products. They're in development. So they're shells. They're pre-revenue startups. There's a difference. Linda leaned forward. Who owns them? Patterson hesitated. Just a second, but it was enough. Dylan is the majority shareholder in all 3 entities, he said. Majority, not sole. Correct. Who else? That information is confidential. I picked up my phone, stopped the recording. Then we're done here. Mr. Brennan, I understand you're frustrated. Frustrated? I stepped closer. I'm on the hook for $200,000 because you and my son decided to turn me into collateral without my consent. That's not frustration, that's rage. Patterson's expression finally shifted, not intimidated, calculating. What do you want? He asked. I want out of the guarantee. I want my name off every document. I want proof that I'm not liable. That would require Dylan to secure alternative financing or repay the loans in full. Then that's what he'll do. And if he can't, then I'll make sure everyone involved in this, everyone, including you, regrets it. Patterson smiled. It wasn't friendly. Mr. Brennan, I appreciate your passion, but threats won't change the legal reality. You signed the documents. You accepted the liability. Now you have to live with the consequences. Or I go to the police and file a fraud complaint. On what basis? Misrepresentation? You'd have to prove your son intentionally deceived you. Good luck with that, especially when the documents clearly state the terms. Linda stood. We're leaving. Before you do, Patterson pulled a folder from his desk. You should know that the outstanding balance has increased. My stomach dropped. How? Titan Strategic Ventures drew an additional $30,000 this morning. Your son authorized it. For what? Operating expenses. I grabbed the folder, opened it. Bank statements, wire transfers, expense reports. $217,000. And climbing. This is insane, I said. This is business. And right now, your son is in a difficult position. The Series A funding is stalled. His investors are getting nervous. Without capital, the companies collapse. And if they collapse, the bank comes after me. Exactly. I looked at the statements. Transfers to vendors I'd never heard of. Consulting fees, technology expenses. It was all so clean, so professional, so completely designed to drain every cent before anyone could stop it. You're helping him steal from me, I said. Patterson shook his head. I'm helping him run a business. What happens between you and your son is a family matter. Linda pulled my arm. We're leaving. Now. We walked out, past the receptionist, into the elevator, down to the lobby. Neither of us spoke until we were back in the car. He's right, Linda said. We can't prove fraud. The documents are clear. Then we don't fight in court. What does that mean? I started the engine. It means I stop playing by rules, Dylan and his consultant wrote. What are you going to do? I thought about my son, sitting somewhere, authorizing another draw against my name. I thought about Morgan Patterson, smiling in his glass office, protected by lawyers and corporate structures. I'm going to learn everything I can, I said, and then I'm going to take it all apart. Linda didn't argue. She just nodded. We drove home in silence. The sky stayed gray. The threat never lifted. I spent 3 days learning everything I could about David Quinn, not from investigators this time, from people. Quinn had a reputation. Anyone who'd worked with him eventually realized what he was, a scavenger, someone who fed on desperation and promised salvation while planning the exit. I contacted every founder Voss had identified. 6 companies Quinn had touched, 6 failures. 3 responded. The first was a woman named Jessica Torres. Her company had developed medical diagnostic software. Quinn had promised her funding, convinced her to take on personal debt, then disappeared when the company collapsed. He destroyed my credit, she said over the phone. I lost my house, my marriage fell apart. And when I tried to sue him, his lawyers buried me in motions until I couldn't afford to keep fighting. How did he get away with it? Because everything was legal. Barely, but legal. He never lied in writing. He never made promises that could be proven. He just manipulated the structure so that when it fell, he was protected and I wasn't. Did anyone ever fight back successfully? Not that I know of. Quinn's too careful. The second founder, Mark Delacroix, told a similar story. Tech startup, big promises, catastrophic failure. Quinn walked away with seed capital while Mark filed bankruptcy. Why didn't you go to the authorities? I asked. And tell them what? That I signed contracts I didn't understand? That I trusted someone I shouldn't have? I was the idiot. Quinn was just smart. The third founder wouldn't talk on the phone, insisted on meeting in person. His name was Ethan Park, Korean-American. Late 30s, wearing jeans and a faded startup t-shirt. We met at a bar in Oakland. Quinn's a parasite, he said without preamble, but you already know that. I'm learning. Why are you digging into him? I explained. Dylan, the loans, the guarantees, the web of shell companies. Ethan listened without interrupting. When I finished, he smiled. It wasn't friendly. Your son's an idiot. Excuse me? He brought Quinn into a family situation. That's the one thing Quinn usually avoids. Too messy, too emotional. People do stupid things when family's involved. Like what? Like fight when they should walk away. Like spend their last dollar on revenge. Quinn preys on people who are desperate but rational. Family makes you irrational. You sound like you have experience. I do. I lost everything to Quinn 3 years ago. Spent the next year planning how to get it back. Did you? Not the money, but I got something better. What? He pulled out his phone, opened a folder, showed me a document. It was a lawsuit. Filed in Delaware, Ethan Park versus David Quinn and associated entities. Fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment. The same claims Angela had filed for me. You sued him? I did, and I lost. But in the process of discovery, I learned how his whole operation works. He opened another file. Diagrams, flowcharts, corporate structures. It looked like the map Voss had built, but more detailed. Quinn doesn't just prey on founders, Ethan explained. He builds an ecosystem, shell companies, complicit attorneys, controlled creditors, everything designed to extract value and shield him from liability. I know, my investigator found the same thing. But did you find the weak point? I looked at him. What weak point? Quinn's operation depends on one thing, secrecy. As long as the shell companies stay hidden, as long as the connections stay buried, he's untouchable. But if you expose the structure publicly, what happens? His other victims start paying attention, his current targets get nervous, his lawyers get expensive, the whole machine starts breaking down. How do you expose it? Ethan smiled. You build a case so public, so detailed, so embarrassing that Quinn's forced to settle just to make it go away. I don't have time for a public case. He and my son are moving money right now. Then you don't expose it in court. You expose it everywhere else. Media, social platforms, industry networks. You make David Quinn toxic. I thought about it. That's reputational warfare. Exactly. And it works because guys like Quinn depend on their reputation to find new victims. Destroy the reputation, you destroy the business. You tried this? I'm still trying. I run a blog documenting corporate predators. Quinn's featured prominently. 10,000 followers and growing. Has it hurt him? It slowed him down. Founders Google his name now before meeting him. Some walk away. Not all, but some. Why are you telling me this? Ethan's expression hardened. Because I want Quinn to pay. I can't do it alone. But if you've got resources, energy, and rage, maybe we can do it together. I'm not looking for a partner. You should be. Quinn's too smart to fight alone. But if two people attack from different angles, one legal, one public, he can't defend both fronts. I thought about it. Angela was fighting the legal battle. But legal was slow, expensive, uncertain. Public was immediate, brutal, potentially more effective. What would I have to do? I asked. Share your documentation. Let me publish the corporate structures, the hidden connections, the loans. I'll write it up, post it everywhere, tag every investor and journalist who should care. That could expose me too. It will, but exposure goes both ways. Quinn stays powerful because victims stay silent. You talk, others talk. Suddenly he's got 20 lawsuits instead of 2. I left the bar with Ethan's contact information and a folder full of templates. Blog posts, social media strategies, press release formats. Everything I needed to weaponize my son's betrayal. Linda read through it that night. You're going to destroy Dylan publicly, she said. I'm going to destroy David Quinn. Dylan's just collateral. Dylan's our son. Dylan stopped being our son when he chose Quinn over us. She didn't argue. She just looked sad. I spent the next week building the exposure campaign. Angela fought the legal battle. I prepared for the public one. Voss provided documentation, corporate filings, financial statements, screenshots of transactions, everything that showed the web Quinn had built. Ethan helped structure the narrative. We framed it not as a family dispute, but as an investigation into predatory venture practices. Dylan was mentioned, but not centered. Quinn was the villain. Patterson was the accomplice. We planned to launch on a Monday. Press release to local business media, blog post with documentation, social media campaign tagging every investor, accelerator, and founder network in the region. The goal was simple. Make working with David Quinn so toxic that no one would touch him. Sunday night, Melissa called. Don't publish that article. Why not? Because Dylan will lose everything. His company, his reputation, his future. He's already lost the company. It's a shell. But he can still rebuild. If you destroy him publicly, he'll never recover. Good. He's your son. He's a thief who used me as collateral. Her voice broke. Please. He's talking about suicide. That stopped me. What? He's been spiraling for days. He knows the lawsuit's coming. He knows Quinn's going to walk. He feels trapped. He is trapped. He built the trap himself. I know. But if you publish this, if you make it national news, he won't survive it. I wanted to feel sympathy. I tried. But all I felt was cold calculation. Put him on the phone, I said. He won't talk to you. Then tell him I'm giving him one chance. He cuts ties with Quinn, transfers back every asset he moved, and confesses everything in writing. If he does that, I won't publish. He can't transfer the assets back. They're in Quinn's companies. Then he testifies against Quinn, gives me everything I need to prosecute fraud. Silence. I'll tell him, Melissa said, but I don't think he'll do it. She was right. Dylan called an hour later. You can't force me to testify. I can make your life hell until you do. You're my father. How can you do this? You're my son. How could you do what you did? I was trying to build something. You were trying to steal. Stop pretending it was noble. What do you want from me? I want you to face consequences. Real ones. And if I don't? Then I publish everything. Your name, your face, your company. Everyone in the startup world will know exactly who Dylan Brennan is. He hung up. Monday morning, I published the article. Ethan posted it on his blog. I shared it across social media. We tagged every relevant account, every publication, every network. The headline was simple: How David Quinn and his network prey on desperate founders. The article included diagrams, financial records, screenshots, everything laid out in detail. Dylan was mentioned as a case study. Quinn was the focus. Within 6 hours, it had been shared 3,000 times. Within 12, reporters started calling. Within 24, David Quinn's lawyers sent a cease and desist. We ignored it. By Wednesday, the story was in TechCrunch, Business Insider, and 2 local papers. Founders started coming forward with their own stories. The comment sections filled with warnings. David Quinn was trending. Not in a good way. Thursday, Angela called. Quinn's lawyers want to meet. They're offering a settlement. What are the terms? They release you from all guarantees, In exchange, you retract the article and sign an NDA. No. Brennan, this is what you wanted, a way out. I wanted Quinn destroyed. The article's doing that. If you keep pushing, they'll sue for defamation. Let them. Everything I published is documented. Defamation suits aren't about truth. They're about who has more money to fight. I thought about my dwindling savings. How much is the settlement worth? Complete release, zero liability, clean break. And Quinn walks? Legally, yes. But his reputation's already ruined. You won. I wanted to keep fighting, but Linda's voice in my head reminded me that winning doesn't always mean destruction. Sometimes it just means survival. I'll think about it, I said. That night, Dylan showed up at my house. He looked worse than I'd ever seen him. Unshaven, exhausted, hollow-eyed. You got what you wanted, he said. I'm finished. You finished yourself. Quinn's cutting ties. Says I'm too much liability. My investors are gone. Good. How can you say that? He sat on the porch steps, head in his hands. I thought I could make it work. I really did. You thought you could steal and get away with it. I was desperate. So you made me desperate too. He looked up. I'm sorry. No, you're not. You're sorry you got caught. There's a difference. We sat in silence. Rain started again, light and cold. What happens now? He asked. Now you face consequences. Quinn's lawyers offered a settlement. If I take it, I walk away clean. You don't. What do you mean? I mean, Quinn's going to blame you for everything. Say you misrepresented the companies, forged documents, acted without authority. He'll make you the villain to protect himself. He can't do that. He already is. Angela showed me the preliminary filings. Quinn's positioning you as a rogue actor. Dylan's face went pale. That's not true. Doesn't matter. He's got better lawyers. Dad, you have to help me. Why would I do that? Because I'm your son. I looked at him. This person I'd raised, taught, supported. This stranger who'd weaponized my love. You stopped being my son when you signed my name to documents designed to destroy me, I said. Now you're just a problem I have to solve. I went inside, locked the door, listened to him sit on the porch in the rain for 20 minutes before finally leaving. Linda found me in the kitchen. Are you okay? She asked. No. Do you regret it? Publishing? No. I'd do it again. I meant turning him away. I thought about it. Ask me in a year. Friday, I accepted Quinn's settlement. Complete release from all guarantees in exchange for retracting the article and signing an NDA. I didn't retract the article. I just stopped promoting it. Ethan kept it live on his blog. The damage was done. Angela filed the settlement with the court. 30 days later, it was finalized. I was free. Dylan wasn't. Quinn sued him for fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and misrepresentation. Used him as a shield to deflect attention from his own culpability. Dylan couldn't afford a good lawyer. He settled for whatever public defender would take the case. Melissa filed for divorce. I didn't reach out. Neither did Linda. We'd survived. That was enough. But late at night, sometimes I thought about the moment Dylan sat on my porch in the rain, asking for help, and I wondered if saying no made me strong or just broken. 2 months after the settlement, I got a call from Ethan Park. You see the news? What news? Quinn's under investigation. SEC's looking into securities fraud related to his holding companies. I pulled up the article. It was real. Multiple founders had filed complaints after the publicity from my case. The SEC had opened a formal inquiry. Think anything will come of it? I asked. Maybe, probably not. But it's something. He's spending money on lawyers instead of finding new victims. Good. We hung up. I thought that was the end of it. Quinn neutralized, Dylan destroyed, me walking away intact, if not whole. I was wrong. 3 weeks later, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. Mr. Brennan, this is Special Agent Teresa Morrison with the FBI's Financial Crimes Unit. Do you have a moment? My stomach dropped. Am I in trouble? No, sir, but we'd like to ask you some questions about your interactions with David Quinn and Morgan Patterson. I already settled with Quinn. I understand. This isn't about the civil settlement. We're investigating potential criminal activity. We met at a federal building downtown. Agent Morrison was mid-40s, severe haircut, no-nonsense demeanor. She had a partner, Agent Reyes, who took notes and said nothing. We've been building a case against David Quinn for 18 months, Morrison explained. Wire fraud, money laundering, conspiracy. Your situation got our attention because it matched patterns we'd seen elsewhere. What patterns? Shell companies, cross-collateralized guarantees, hidden creditors. Quinn uses the same playbook every time. We think he's defrauded over 40 people in the past 5 years. Why hasn't anyone stopped him? Because his lawyers are good? Everything's technically legal until you can prove intent? We need witnesses willing to testify about what Quinn told them privately. I didn't talk to Quinn privately. Everything went through my son. What about Morgan Patterson? I thought about the meeting in Patterson's office, the veiled threats, the casual admission of structuring deals to confuse creditors. I met with Patterson once. He was careful, never said anything directly incriminating. We don't need direct incrimination. We need testimony about the structure, the process, how they explained the guarantees to you. Why? Because if we can show a pattern of deliberate misrepresentation across multiple victims, we can establish intent that turns civil fraud into criminal fraud. Morrison slid a folder across the table. Inside were photographs. Other victims, other companies, all following the same pattern I'd lived. How many of these people have you talked to? I asked. 12. Most are willing to testify if we can guarantee Quinn won't retaliate. Can you guarantee that? If we arrest him, yes. I looked at the photos. Young faces, mostly. People who trusted the wrong mentor. What do you need from me? Your documentation. Bank records, emails, corporate filings. Everything that shows how Quinn and Patterson structured the scheme. I gave that to my lawyer. We'll subpoena it, but we'd prefer your cooperation. What happens if I cooperate? You testify at trial if we get that far. You help us build the case. And if we win, Quinn goes to prison. I thought about Dylan. He'd be implicated too. His cooperation with Quinn, his role in the fraud. The FBI would come for him eventually. My son was involved, I said. If you prosecute Quinn, does Dylan get prosecuted too? Morrison's expression softened slightly. That depends on his level of involvement. If he was a victim manipulated by Quinn, probably not. If he was a willing participant, maybe. He was both. Then we'd need to talk to him, see if he's willing to cooperate. I left the federal building with Morrison's card and a request to think about it. Linda was waiting in the car. What did they want? To prosecute Quinn, they need my help. Are you going to give it? If I do, Dylan might go down too. She stared through the windshield. Would that be the worst thing? Yes. No. I don't know anymore. That night, I called Angela. The FBI wants my documentation for a criminal case against Quinn. Good. Give it to them. Dylan will be implicated. Dylan implicated himself. You're just providing evidence. He's still my son. Is he? Because from where I'm sitting, he stopped acting like your son the moment he forged your signature. He didn't forge, he duplicated. Same thing. And he did it knowing exactly what it would cost you. I hung up and stared at Agent Morrison's card. The right move was obvious. Cooperate, help the FBI, let justice run its course. But justice meant my son might end up in prison. I thought about calling Dylan, asking him what he wanted me to do, but I knew what he'd say. He'd beg me not to cooperate. He'd promise to make things right somehow. He'd use the same manipulation tactics that had gotten me into this mess. So I didn't call. Instead, I called Ethan. FBI contacted me, I said. They want me to testify against Quinn. You should do it. It'll destroy my son. Your son destroyed himself. You're just documenting it. That's what everyone keeps saying. Because it's true. Listen, Brennan, I get it. He's family. That makes it harder. But think about the other victims. The people Quinn's going to scam next year and the year after that. If you don't help stop him, you're complicit. That's not fair. Life's not fair. You learned that when Dylan betrayed you. I hung up. 3 days later, I called Agent Morrison. I'll cooperate. Tell me what you need. The FBI moved fast. Within a week, they had subpoenas for Quinn's companies, Patterson's firm, and every bank Dylan had used. Within 2 weeks, they executed search warrants. Quinn's office, Patterson's office, Dylan's home. Melissa called me, crying. They took everything. Dylan's computers, his files, our financial records. Did they arrest him? Not yet, but they're treating him like a criminal. He is a criminal. He's your son. I'm aware. She hung up. I didn't call back. A month later, Agent Morrison called with an update. We're ready to move forward. Grand jury indictment for David Quinn on 12 counts of wire fraud, 4 counts of money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud. What about Patterson? Cooperating witness. He's giving us Quinn in exchange for immunity. And Dylan? Silence. What about my son? I repeated. Dylan's situation is complicated. He engaged in fraudulent activity, but we believe he was manipulated by Quinn. If he cooperates, we'll consider reduced charges or immunity. Has he been offered a deal? His lawyer's reviewing it now. What are the terms? Full cooperation, testimony against Quinn, forfeiture of any assets obtained through the scheme. Which is nothing because Quinn already took everything. Exactly. Your son has nothing to lose and everything to gain by cooperating. Except his dignity. Mr. Brennan, with respect, Dylan lost his dignity when he defrauded his own father. She wasn't wrong. 2 weeks later, Dylan took the deal. I heard about it from Angela, not from Dylan himself. Your son's testifying for the prosecution. He's giving them everything. Email chains, meeting notes, recordings he made of conversations with Quinn. Recordings? Apparently Dylan suspected Quinn might turn on him, so he started documenting everything 6 months ago. Smart. Or paranoid. Maybe both. What happens now? I asked. Trial starts in 3 months. You'll be called as a witness, so will Dylan. You'll both testify about how Quinn manipulated the corporate structure. I'll have to see him. In the courtroom, yes, but you won't have to talk to him. Good. I didn't want to talk to Dylan. I didn't want to hear his excuses or his apologies or his explanations. I just wanted this to end. The trial was set for October. The prosecution had 12 victims lined up to testify. Dylan was the star witness because he documented everything. Quinn's defense strategy was predictable. Blame Dylan. Claim Dylan had acted without authority, misled Quinn, and fabricated evidence after the fact. It wouldn't work. The FBI had too much corroboration. But it would be ugly. In September, a week before jury selection, I got a call from Dylan. Dad, I need to talk to you. No. Please, just 5 minutes. Why? Because I'm about to testify against Quinn, and I need to know you don't hate me. I don't hate you. I just don't trust you. That's fair. We met at the same coffee shop where I'd met Melissa months ago. Neutral ground, public space. Dylan looked better than the last time I'd seen him. Still thin, still exhausted, but cleaner, more composed. Thank you for meeting me, he said. I didn't respond. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know I understand what I did. Quinn manipulated me, but I let him. I knew it was wrong, and I did it anyway. Why? Because I wanted to be successful so badly that I stopped caring how I got there. I thought if I could just make the company work, none of the methods would matter. But the company didn't work. No, it didn't. We sat in silence. What happens after the trial? I asked. I don't know. Melissa divorced me. My reputation's destroyed. I'll probably never work in tech again. Good. He flinched but didn't argue. I deserve that. You deserve worse. I know. I stood to leave. Dad, wait. I stopped. I'm sorry. For everything. For lying. For stealing. For breaking your trust. I'm sorry. I looked at him. The stranger who used to be my son. I believe you're sorry, I said. But that doesn't change what you did. I left. The trial started October 15th. Quinn pleaded not guilty to all charges. The prosecution spent 2 weeks presenting evidence. Bank records, corporate filings, testimony from victims. Each story was the same. Promises, manipulation, disaster. Dylan testified on week 3. I was in the courtroom. I wanted to see him face Quinn. Dylan was calm, articulate, devastating. He described how Quinn had approached him, promised funding, then systematically structured the corporate entities to maximize extraction while minimizing his own risk. Did Mr. Quinn ever tell you the structure was designed to defraud your father? The prosecutor asked. Not explicitly, but he made it clear that the goal was to move money quickly before anyone could object. And did you object? No. Why not? Because I was desperate, and because Quinn convinced me it was normal. Quinn's lawyer cross-examined aggressively. Mr. Brennan, isn't it true that you lied to your father about the nature of the loans? Yes. And you forged his signature on documents he didn't approve? I didn't forge it. I asked him to sign documents I didn't fully explain. So you deceived him? Yes. And now you're blaming Mr. Quinn for your own fraudulent behavior? I'm testifying about what Mr. Quinn told me to do. Or what you claim he told you to do. The prosecution objected. The judge sustained. But the point was made. Dylan was a liar. His testimony was suspect. When I took the stand, the prosecutor asked me to describe what Dylan had told me about the loans. He said it was a temporary bridge loan for one company, $60,000. He never mentioned the other companies or the total exposure. Did you read the documents before signing? Not thoroughly. Why not? Because I trusted my son. The courtroom went quiet. Quinn's lawyer tried to make me look negligent. Mr. Brennan, you signed legal documents without reading them. I signed documents my son assured me were standard. But you didn't verify that assurance? No. So you're asking this jury to hold Mr. Quinn responsible for your failure to exercise due diligence? I'm asking this jury to hold Mr. Quinn responsible for building a system designed to trap people like me. The defense rested after 3 weeks. Closing arguments took 2 days. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Guilty on all counts. David Quinn was sentenced to 8 years in federal prison. Morgan Patterson, who testified for the prosecution, got probation and a fine. Dylan got immunity and a permanent stain on his record. I got my money back. The court ordered Quinn to repay all victims from his seized assets. I received 70 cents on the dollar. Not whole, but better than nothing. Linda and I took the settlement and moved on. We didn't contact Dylan. He didn't contact us. 6 months later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Dylan was working at a grocery store in Oregon, bagging groceries, stocking shelves, living in a studio apartment. The life he'd tried to escape by stealing from me. I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not sympathy, just nothing. Linda asked if I wanted to reach out. I said no. She didn't push. A year after the trial, Ethan called. Hey, Brennan. Just wanted to let you know, the blog post about Quinn is still getting hits. 5,000 views last month. People still searching his name before doing business. Good. How are you doing? Fine. You sound like shit. I said I'm fine. Right. Well, if you ever want to grab coffee and talk about how fine you are, let me know. We never did grab coffee. I didn't need to talk about it. Talking wouldn't change what happened. Wouldn't erase the betrayal. Wouldn't restore the trust. Some things you just live with. So that's what I did. I lived with it.